We're in beautiful Western New York, the little town of Clarkson for Good Neighbor Days. The axes are sharp, the saws are going to be racing. So don't get off the couch, stay right there. It's time for Lumberjacks.
Lumberjacks is sponsored by Echo, only professional grade with 5-year warranty. Crown, protect, maintain, save. The new You Find Fish app. Fish with your phone. Humminbird, simply, clearly better.
We're in Western New York on the shores of Lake Ontario, just outside the little town of Clarkson for their Good Neighbor Days and a Lumberjack competition. Hi, I'm Bill Deba with co-host Lumberjack sport analyst Rod Cumberland. And you know, Rod, New York State Lumberjack Association, they're doing a great job of keeping the sport alive, just like your home province in New Brunswick, the Maritime Lumberjack Association.
That's right. Our association, of course, runs a series of 5 shows in the summer. And New York State Lumberjacks, they're all great competitors, and they run a circuit here as well.
Now this week we're featuring 4 events, among them the women's bow saw. We got a great field of women competitors here, all from New York State.
Oh man, tough one to call. Tracy Henning, of course, is last year's champ, but you've got Peg Engasser, you've got Heather Cleve, our lone Canadian female competitor. It'll be a tough one to call. Now,
just like a golf tournament when all the experts are trying to predict winners, axe throw was a tough one to predict the winners. We got over 50 competitors. You know, it's anybody's guess who's going to win that one.
That's right, really tough one to call. If you look at the results in New York State, actually Tim Keats is a pretty consistent axe thrower, so I'd look to him to be up near the top 5. But hey, last year we covered an Echo show. Dave Engasser pocketed $1,000 at that show in the axe throw event, so that's going to be a tough one to call.
As mentioned, we are on the shores of Lake Ontario, Clarkson, New York, just about 12 miles south of the lake itself, just outside of Rochester. All kinds of outdoor recreational opportunities in Western New York. Of course, you can get your sailboat out and go in the big lakes. There's a lot of small lakes as well, and they're called the Finger Lakes, where there's, you know, a multitude of boating opportunities. We're going to get started with the Springboard Chop. In total, there were 13 competitors in the Springboard Chop. We're going to be showing you the top 6 guys in 3 heats, starting off with Chris Henning, Corey Christians. Chris been around the sport for a long time, big, strong competitor. I know you know Corey a little bit there, too.
That's right. I met Corey at this show. Good guy. He actually went to university at the University of Connecticut. They call it UConn. And when he told me he went to the UConn to school, I went, hey, I'm a Canadian to UConn. That's a long ways to travel to go to school. But he went to the University of Connecticut. So that's where he cut his lumberjack tooth first, was at UConn. They actually started a lumberjack team there.
Well, Springboard Chop is always, of course, one of the crowd favorites. Corey, it looks like he's comfortable with that when he gets out the last few chips there. And Chris is still working on his board. His first one there, big, strong guy. He wants to get deep with a good board set.
That's right. He actually put his notch in 4 strokes, went back, and actually is making this notch deeper. An interesting shot here. You can see the differences in the springboard shoes, Bill, in this event. Corey Christians has a cast shoe that comes from Australia, typical one that most competitors use. See this one right here. This is Chris's. It's a lot different shoe. It's a homemade shoe, and it'll all be interesting to see how it stands up in these notches.
Now, looking at Corey, of course, it doesn't look like he's quite hitting the notch hard enough. I know you got to really swing the axe hard to get those hits in deep on the springboard notches. Now, at this point, Chris, who's a much harder hitter, is ahead of Corey at this point.
That's right. Corey, obviously, not really well-versed yet in the springboard chop. You can see him. He doesn't really realize that this is a really strong springboard. He should be putting all of his weight on the back of that springboard, settling that down to the horizontal so he can get a really good swing. Really hard to chop when your back leg is up that high.
Yeah, he took a double take on his right foot out back there to see if he was actually able to be comfortable as possible. Looks like Chris is going to be way ahead of him at this point. He is way ahead of him, ready to move over to the backside.
That's right. Chris, a big, strong man. He's got a good swing. He's quite confident on the top of that board. Oh, you see his block come loose there, Bill.
Yeah, it looks like it's coming off there. He's going to be able to finish the chop. His axe is stuck. He's struggling with it. Got to grab it with his hand or something. It falls off. You know, Rod, I think he's going to take a DQ for that one. Andy, explain to me what happened with Chris here on this chop.
Well, unfortunately, Chris's log, if you can see here, slabbed all the way down. Now, if this had slabbed and not had the full square end of the log down on it, it would have been a good cut because he had his slab nails in, he had the protection in to take care of that. But this slabbed all the way down flat, and it fell out of the stand. He wasn't able to finish it. So, unfortunately, it's a disqualification.
Bottom line is you got 11 inches round, 12 inches round. You got to chop the whole thing.
Chop the whole thing.
Hi, my name is Mike Coors. I live in Warren, Pennsylvania, and I have my own tree harvesting company.
Dave Engasser, Virgil, New York, line mechanic for New York State Electric and Gas.
Well, a couple of veteran competitors. Dave Engasser, certainly, he's been around since the 90s. Graduate of Finger Lakes Community College in Canandaigua. Been a solid competitor over the years. He's an experienced veteran. He knows he can take down this time of 1:59.41 set by Christians in the first heat. Taking on Mike Coors, pretty good axeman himself.
That's right, and Mike's going to go for it. He loves the axe events. He's a good axeman himself, and he's going to put in a good notch.
There's Engasser going for that first board. I'm not sure it was deep enough there. His board set's not going to be very, very good, I don't think. And look at that. He tries to catch himself, catch his balance with his left hand there. He's not comfortable with that. Look how close he is to the tree.
That's right. Can't get the full extent of his arms. Of course, he can't swing hard, get a good pocket, so Dave's gone back to the ground. He's doing it again.
Coors is out and up in his second board up there. Dave Engasser still trying to get up his first board. You see him putting lean on it. He's still down below the horizon. Mike Coors well into his block, but look at his board as well. It's sagging a lot.
That's right. When Dave went back down to reset his first board, you might as well take more than 2 strokes because it doesn't get him in deep enough. The board still went in the same kind of groove it had before. It's right settled down again. Now Dave's finally up on his second board.
Nasty piece of wood up there for Coors as he was well ahead in this heat, and he's going to win this heat, barring a catastrophe, of course, or barring something that happened similar to Chris Henning in the last heat. He's about to make his turn right now. Is he going to do it in time before that block slabs off?
Did a great job, put a lot of strokes in, driver strokes on the front side. He went well through on the front, so yeah, it didn't take him any time at all. Minute 12 from Mike.
Now that's going to be a little bit tougher to beat for the last 2 guys. Did you hurry your second pocket a little bit? Because I know you couldn't have been too happy with that board on the second board.
No, actually it was a really good pocket. It's just you can see on the tree how it slabbed out about 3/4 of an inch, and that's what didn't have as much to sit on, so it started sagging a bit. I was a little nervous about it, but I thought it was only 10 inches up there, so I'd get through it and then hit that pocket of crap in the middle.
So just tell me about the difficulties when you have a board that's sagging. You can't get the power behind your swing, right?
Yeah, everything's a lot higher, and of course you're choked up, and it's not very comfortable to swing like that. Definitely don't get the power for sure.
Thanks, Mike.
Yep, thank you.
Hi, my name is Matthew Marks. I live in Canandaigua, New York, and I'm a self-employed contractor.
Paul Feniger, hometown Scottsville, New York, and I am in charge of fleet maintenance for Monroe Community College.
Now we saw in the replay of Mike Coors there, and he's chopping above an ideal zone. What is the perfect zone to be chopping at?
Too high, you can't. You're only using your shoulders and your arms, Bill. When you get down below in the midsection of your body, arms and legs all come into focus, and you can hit a lot harder.
Well, this last heat, Matt Marks taking on Paul Feniger, 2 excellent New York State choppers, and they got a time to beat of 1:12.72. Both these guys are going to go after it, and they're head-to-head at this point.
That's right. The young gun against the old veteran here, the wily veteran, and Paul Feniger. Been around the sport as long as I have. Matt Marks, he's just been at it for a few years. He's a recent graduate, but he's a really good axeman, and he's going to go for it in the springboard.
Look at that. Both guys up in the second board at the exact same time. Both into the wood at the exact same time as well. Big slab coming off Matt Marks' block up there.
Now what it'll come down to is how good the blocks are on the top, and of course they draw numbers to see who gets what block. Matt Marks' block here, beautiful block. You can see Feniger's block, he's got, oh, look at there, a knot. He's got an ugly block. He's got to do a lot of work to catch up.
Excellent race going on here as they're putting the finishing touches on their front side. They're both going to switch at the almost exact same time. Feniger on the backside, Matt Marks on the backside. Who's going to win?
It's going to be Paul Feniger's just driving it off, but Matt Marks takes him down in a minute flat.
He wins the springboard. You had a bit of a struggle with your first notch there. Spent a whole lot of time, and you had to come from behind to catch Paul Feniger there.
You're not kidding.
Just tell me about it.
It's just like I didn't flick the chip out. When you make the first two cuts, first 2 hits, you got to really make sure you rip that chip out by flicking your wrist. I didn't do that, so it hung right in my way, and I had to make, I think there's 8 hits on the bottom, and ideally it should be 4, so 4 extra, it's 4 seconds. So.
And up top there, you had a bit of a slab going on in the front on your lower side.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm not sure what was going on there. It just must be the grain of the wood was real straight, and it just slabbed off, so.
Nails held it together.
That's right, that's the idea.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it. The Lumberjack tree surfing is over for this show in Clarkson, New York. Paul Feniger, Matt Marks had a great race, a photo finish, but Matt Marks takes first place with a minute .8.